Hello and welcome back. A good networking session. Even found time for some lunch. Okay, we start again now. We've got 4 pictures and then also the one that we missed this morning for technical reasons. So I'm going to hand over to Andrei Dragomir from Aquark. So Andrei, I'm going to put you on. You're ready to show your slides?
Yes, hello everyone. Can you see my slide?
All good, you'll go.
Brilliant. So hello everyone, I'm Andrei. I'm founder and technologies, and our mission is to make quantum technology available for everyone. We will accomplish this as we created the first integrated plug-and-play cold atom system. We have essentially miniaturized the processor behind quantum technology for sensing and metrology. Because on top of 10 years of research at University of Southampton, I did an accidental major scientific discovery that allows us to create efficient quantum systems without the need of a magnetic field. This is a completely new approach, a small, power-efficient, scalable device that will do for quantum technology what miniaturizing the transistor did for semiconductors. And this is the basis of Aquark technologies. So why should we care about cold atoms? Well, they are the basis for the new generation of quantum technology devices for sensing and metrology. These outperform by far classical technology in applications like timing, inertial navigation, gravity measurements, and much, much more. They actually perform so well that we could map the underground by simply walking down the street, or we could end up navigating without the need of a satellite connection. So essentially, cold atoms are the powerhouse, the heart behind this new generation of quantum systems, one of the most important pieces of technology of the future. Now, the problem with current cold atom systems is that they're exactly where computers were in the late 60s. They work very well in laboratory environments, but they're bulky, complex, and power-hungry. Now, due to our innovations and solutions, we can skip several steps of the integration process, and we can start using quantum technology sensors straight in the end-user applications. And miniaturizing this technology is even more of a game changer because together with a massive reduction in power requirements, this enables the use of cold atom-based quantum systems in a much broader range of markets than previously considered. And the 3 main opportunities here are clocks, sensors, and qubits. Now, atomic clocks will unlock the potential of current navigation systems, and because of it, for example, autonomous vehicles will get 10 times better. Sensors will make mapping the underground non-destructive, saving millions of pounds for civil engineers, and will offer unprecedented resolution in medical imaging. And qubits, well, I'm sure everyone knows, will change the face of computing and promise to secure our communications. And while we're not planning to create a new quantum computer, our technology can be used towards the miniaturization of existing architectures, increasing thus the accessibility of this type of technology. And this is just the beginning. So after 10 years of research and grant funding of over £2 million, we are now ready to spin out of University of Southampton. We have submitted for 3 patents for our core technology, and we are looking for seed funding. The rest of the core team is already identified and is ready to join us as soon as the money is in place. And our focus will be then to commercialize individual components in alignment with prime companies' current needs. For this, we already have letters of intent from significant clients, distributors such as Photonics Technologies, and fabricators such as TMD Technologies. And we believe this is a pathway to generating millions of pounds worth of revenue immediately. In parallel, we will also start working towards the development of our first complex integrated product, an atomic clock, which we plan to distribute it using a licensing model. Now, the atomic clock will be the first fundamental technology that will show the true impact we can have on the market. And together with the development of other sensors, such as magnetometers, gravimeters, and inertial navigation systems, this will allow us to address over £500 million out of the quantum technology markets in just 5 years' time. And we believe our timing could not be better, as the current landscapes remains underdeveloped, with most companies still focusing on research, with minor attempts to export this type of technology outside of the lab. Currently, the small business sector still serves the research market and aggressively pursues government grants. However, primes and large companies have become more and more involved in transitioning this amazing new technology out of the lab, anticipating a massive tech pull from customers. And because of this, we now have the opportunity to spearhead the first true commercial applications of this new generation of cold atom-based quantum devices. So we offer practical solutions for the integration of quantum devices for sensing and metrology in real-world applications through the development of a fully integrated cold atom system, a game-changing enabling technology in a rapidly evolving market. We're now in the middle of raising our seed funding, and in order to accomplish all our plans, we need a total of £550,000. This is all the runway we need for the next 24 months to secure our facilities, part of the team, and the first product out of the door, which will allow us in turn to leverage this investment against further grant funding. And following the success of our accelerator programs, we are now receiving a lot of interest from investors. However, we're specifically searching for investors with expertise in deep technology and quantum technology that will work with us on shaping our strategy in order to make this venture a success. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Andrei. That was very compact and very clear. So I'll make a call out for questions in the chat. So questions coming in already. Which markets do you intend to address with your atomic clock?
So we are designing our atomic clock specifically for space applications and for support of 5G technologies.
For my benefit, what alternatives do they have right now?
So, as I am currently understanding it, current cold atoms, current atomic clocks that are fit for space application do not exactly reach the performance that we can achieve using cold atom systems, which show improvement of at least 3 orders of magnitude in the performance of the clocks in laboratory environments. And in order to benefit from the potential of 5G technologies and for increasing the current GPS systems that we're using, a clock like this would be better fitted than the current existing solutions based on hot atom vapor.
Okay, and I guess for the miniaturization and portability is super important for those space applications. Another question then, do you find difficulties to explain to investors the technology based on cold atoms?
Yes, quite a lot actually, especially because now when everyone hears quantum goes straight into computing, so it's very difficult to pull them away from that area for sensing and metrology, and especially around cold atoms, because whilst the idea behind them can be explained very easily, people are more familiarized with trapped ions, with photon-based technology, with superconductors and so on and so forth. So yes, it was one of the difficulties in starting a spin-out on cold atom based.
And are there any tricks you can share how you explain it, or metaphors or analogies you use?
It's difficult. There are a lot of them. It's all about getting, I'm assuming, the first interest by explaining the large set of scale, and then spending the time explaining exactly how the technology works in follow-up sessions. But I think that's kind of the main idea behind finding the exact how will the future look if that technology will be employed, which kind of makes it attractive, and then explaining furthermore how the technology would benefit and how it actually works in follow-up sessions where actually investors spend more time and more interest in learning this type of technology.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And more questions coming. Did your technology already go through qualification for space applications, or what are the issues around that? Yeah.
So not at this stage. Currently, we are testing in our labs our technology according to military standards, basically. But we didn't have the opportunity of actually testing it, an entire product yet on a space platform.
Okay. Thank you. And then maybe one more question then. You mentioned qubits as a possible application. Can you elaborate a little?
Yes, essentially, we can use neutral atoms as we are using trapped ions, for example, for qubit applications. My knowledge on that side is limited, and we're not planning to make a new quantum computer. However, we are aware of people that are using, for example, rubidium vapor in order to create a qubit. And in this way, we can apply our technology towards miniaturization of that type of architecture. And we can increase it as we can offer the application of cold atoms in that type of architecture as well. We'll see huge increase in the performance of the device. So what we know, a couple of companies, for example, that work with hot atom vapor at this point because it's very easy to use. We can apply our technology as a plug-and-play solution, a core of the qubit that will seek a huge increase in performance in the performance of that type of quantum computer as well.
Super, thank you very much. I'm going to call it to a close now. There is the chat still ongoing, and then we have a networking at the end. So please do take opportunities to catch up with Andrei. Andrei, thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to further questions, and thank you for the opportunity to pitch today, and thanks for your attention.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to switch over to Paul. So QuantFi.
Hi,
Paul. Hello, Paul. Welcome.
Thank you.
So you're ready to share your screen and go?
Yeah.
Okay, you have 10 minutes.
That's working.
That's good.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Paul, CEO and founder of QuantFi. And our company mission is really solving financial problem, real one, using quantum solutions. The quantum computing market, as Tractica evaluated, is basically an exponentially growing market over the next 10 years. And we see from the press, and that's just an example, there are many more, that banks, big banks like BBVA, HSBC, are all starting to experiment quantum computing and even going live with quantum-inspired computing. So who are we? We are obviously a deep tech company, specifically for quantum finance. And 12 now. But we have a leadership that is not only scientists, we have a leadership of bankers and managers, but a lot of scientists, obviously. And our solutions are faster, more accurate, more exhaustive, and big data financial analysis. So what are these solutions? It's very simple. Our products are Kiwi for quantum and Kawa for quantum inspired. What problem are we solving for the financial institution? First, these are AI type of problems, so quantum machine learning for trend detection, for example. Optimization, like portfolio optimization, order optimization, collateral optimization, and risk management, like VAR calculation, option price calculation. And these two products are available both in Excel for people who are not developers, like front officer, risk officers, to play with the algorithm and get a sense of what is available today. But of course, for production, we can offer APIs to developers. Our value proposition, again, is started from the needs of the financial institution. And that's not only for the long term, but also for the short term solutions. And our company is very scalable because we are already at the product stage, and we invest in breakthrough research that can come out. Always reinvesting our profits in research and development. These are some of our business partners, and all these we make business, profits with all those partners in different areas, but always around finance. This year we just started. We are talking with these major institutions about next year already, their budget, their objectives. So we're in business with all of those for the long term. Our team is basically an executive team will make a focus and strong research and product team with the new generation of quantum researchers or developers. And of course, we need science. So we're working with major universities to get advice, but also directorship, so that our young researchers are very well selecting their topic in terms of breakthrough research and also working short-term for R&D. The founders, we are basically bankers and scientists. So bankers from INSEAD, the Crédit Agricole, Lehman Brothers, and scientists, scientific lead from working at CNRS and who went to Oxford. So as managers, we are not just, having one or two experts going around the world to sell a few mandates. We have built a product factory, which means we start from the financial institution use case and then build in QuantFi a team of scientists, young ones and some older ones. And then we team up with directors, advisors in universities like Oxford, Paris-Saclay, or Shanghai. Then we put all that together to build our products, our IP. And as I said, it's very simple. Today, we have Kiwi for quantum and Kawa for quantum inspired. We know our competition. There is a lot of competition, but first, we are a unique team of bankers and scientists, not one scientist going around. We have a unique product factory that is extremely competitive and scalable. And we offer both near-term and long-term solutions. With our product, we are scalable, but with our breakthrough research, we are even more scalable in terms of company value, I mean. And what is our timeline? So our timeline is before getting quantum ready and go full quantum maybe in 6 to 10 years. Nobody knows really, but what is sure is that today the activity you see here, like training, benchmarking, quantum inspired products or experimental products, R&D, breakthrough research, we have started to make money on all of those items. And in 1 or 2 years, we hope that we can go live with some of our clients on quantum inspired product. And we will also have an organization to publish corporate or academic papers on a regular rhythm. 3 to 5 years, everybody is expecting the NISC. So why not Kiwi live on these computers? And obviously, in the long term, we will have fully fledged quantum computer for Kiwi to give its full power. You are investors, so we need to give you a few information about our results and capital plan. We've been bootstrapped at the end of 2019, and funding came from founders, the French Public Investment Bank grants, loans from bank, BNP, and research tax credit. So last year was a little negative earnings, but this year we are already positive, thanks to a very good fourth quarter, where our sales even exceed our net cost, meaning we are cash flow positive from this quarter. But still, we need to prepare for scale up before trying to really scale very quickly. So we need seed money, 1 million for new product and private quantum security and privacy. We need to add some CXO, a CTO full-time, senior business developers, and of course, new scientists and new research and product team members. But we need to protect our IP and other expertise, and we want to sponsor research in universities. Then, of course, we want to scale up. There we are targeting Series A, and we want to have global office, proper CXO team, and turn industrial in software development with not only researchers, but professional in software development. That's it. If you have any question.
Super. Thank you very much. You're well in time. And are there any questions? It's starting to come in. So in which area, trends, optimization, etc., do you see the real added value of quantum computing?
So today, on real quantum computing, as you say, maybe universal quantum computing, you mean like product offered by IBM, Google, and so on. On those, we are just experimental, but we build a prototype, not only research paper. We build prototype to demonstrate that the quantum algorithm are, for example, quadratically better in terms of number of steps of calculations than classical optimization. So we need to wait for the machines to be there. But again, before that, we are doing quantum inspired that, gives advantage sometime 1,000 times. We have a French investment bank on complex product like Coello, where we've seen for quantum inspired speed up by 1,000 times on their product.
Some more questions coming in. How many logical qubits do you need to run your first quantum algorithm?
That's a very good question. Well, NIST might not have a lot of logical qubit, but we estimate that with 300 to 500 logical qubits, we can really do something.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe one last question, then we move over. Role in the current fintech landscape.
Well, our role is really, as a banking expert to bring around the world, and we're really global from writing in Japan, doing in Japan, with US company, with a UK company, a French company, of course. So our garden is global, and we really want to bring all the technology that can be used today or tomorrow around the quantum world. That's our mission.
Right, thank you. Yeah, the global aspect is very clear in your presentation. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call it an end. Thank you very much, Paul. Really appreciate that. Take the opportunity to network afterwards, and we're going to switch over now to the next pitch. Thank you, Paul. Bye. So I'm looking for Abhishek.
Hello.
Hey, hello. Welcome.
Can you
if you're ready?
Yes, just putting up my presentation. 1 second.
Okay, let's roll. You're ready to play your screen?
Can you see my screen?
It's just coming up. Yes, okay, you're on. 10 minutes.
Okay, great. Thank you everyone for having us here. Thank you to the organizers for this amazing event. It's a great learning curve, I would say. So we are the BosonQ SI. We are a young startup based out of India right now. And our motto is very simple but very powerful, enabling simulations for quantum paradigm. So the simulation that I mentioned in previous slide is basically multiphysics simulation. So we are targeting a very niche market segment of multiphysics. So multiphysics field comprises of 6 sub-fields, I would say, which includes all the engineering aspects from fluid dynamics to acoustics till heat transfer. So let me just give a small background. So we have, let's take an example of a car. So a car can have a simulation, which is important in terms of like fluid dynamics, deciding like the aerodynamic shape of it and everything. And then you can have like something as structural dynamics, which is basically like when you want to imagine like a car crashing. So though like a lot of engineering simulations are needed for that. Then you have heat transfer, which is basically like HVAC system inside your car. And then you have electromagnetic, which is basically like how your antennas will be placed and how will you receive like the signals in your cars, and everything. Then comes the chemical reaction, which is basically like when you have like combustion, and now you are going into like electric cars, so like batteries, like how will they perform their functions, and everything. So last comes is like the acoustics part, like how will your sound travel inside your car. So this, I just took a like car as an example to show that different aspects of multiphysics within it. So now I want to demonstrate with the help of a aerospace example, the extreme scale which these multiphysics simulations can go up to. So here I'm showing basically a tail of an aircraft where basically a fluid dynamic study is done using like computational fluid dynamic code, which understands like the behavior of air near it. So this simulation actually was performed in the Mira supercomputer at Argonne National Lab, which used like basically 3 million parallel processors, which is a lot of computational power. And even with that much computational power, it took about 5 to 6 months of time. Then going into full aircraft study, like this was just like one part of an aircraft, but to do a full aircraft study, it's not possible before 2050, and not from the physics point of view, but from the computational resource point of view, because as these supercomputers are scaling up, it's very difficult to do these kind of like high fidelity or high accuracy simulations. There's also one more problem, that, okay, if this scales up very nicely till 2050, like the current supercomputers, it's great. But there's the problem of electricity consumption. It is said that by 2030, the Zeta scales supercomputers will actually take up 80 megawatt of energy. That's like 4 times of the city of San Francisco's daily requirement. So that's where we vision that we need a paradigm shift. We need something much more powerful in the field of multiphysics simulation. So that's why we have BosonQ, whose vision is to become the premier multiphysics simulation software company for quantum computers. Our mission is to make multiphysics simulation a major application area in quantum computing, because there's a lot of interest in field of quantum computing, but it's limited to field of like cryptography, AI, ML, chemistry simulations, and so on and so forth. But really nobody is talking about multiphysics simulation in this whole landscape, whereas it has been the major driver for high performance computing until now. We also want to be the front runner in multiphysics because this whole field is growing and we want to grow with it. And that's where we will launch our like to make this possible, that's where we will launch our product, BQ5. It will be a state-of-the-art quantum cloud-based software, which will be based on the SAS model. And it will be targeted both towards academia and the industry, because high accuracy is needed at both places to carry out the research as well as to bring new design. Just to take a small time to explain this, why it is important in industry. Industry have cost associated with everything, and it cost associated with such simulations can go up to $15 million if you want that much accuracy and that much time. And honestly, it's not possible in industry. We at academia enjoy this, but industry cannot lend that much time. So that's why this bringing quantum computing to those people will be like a great thing. It will be an actual, I would say, a revolution in the field of like in industry, I would say. Accuracy of this that we are trying to of the software that we are trying to release will be comparable to academia standards, because academia, as I said, usually does highly accurate simulations, and it will entail all the multiphysics fields that I mentioned in the first slide. It will be highly scalable, so we can design something for like near term, and it will scale very well with future term. And we also want to in future have versatility in architecture, so it will be like gate-based model and can be also transferred to like quantum annealers or something. So the unique value proposition of our product is basically that people who use this do not need to have quantum computing experience. Basically, everything will be in the back end, and we will be providing this a very user-friendly GUI, which experts in the field of multiphysics can use on the first day itself. The turnaround will be turnaround time will be quick, and quick as in like our initial analysis have said that the same simulation that I showed for 5 to 6 months, it will basically take 1 to 2 months if we bring quantum computing for that simulation. And we want to ensure, and that is the biggest important thing, is the high fidelity. High fidelity ensures high accuracy, and why it is important is because imagine, like think about this, like you have cars and you have aircrafts which look the same way. Fundamentally, the design is same as what it was 20 to 30 or 40 years ago. It has not really changed, and the reason for that is we need such simulations, not just simulations, we need experiments, but experiments are very expensive. So that's where we bring in simulation, but the cost, like I mentioned, is very, very high, and the industry cannot really get that. So the landscape that we are targeting is actually a broad one, and it's very much required in industry like aerospace, petroleum, renewable energy, till astrophysics. So like imagine like you have to have new you're trying to launch basically new electric vehicles or electric aircrafts or like electric VTOLs or wind turbines or like any drug. So all these things require simulations, and that's what we will be targeting. So this industry, which can be thought of a very niche, but it's actually a very broad industry, and is predicted to grow about $17 billion by 2024. So the current competitions, as we see, are mainly in the multiphysics area, where there's giants of COMSOL, Altair, Dassault System, and ANSYS lie. But we are trying to differentiate ourselves because we have quantum computing things there. In the quantum era, I would say the competition is indirect because there are some companies who are trying to do simulation, but not really multiphysics simulation, but they are the closest competitors that we see. A very important part of the presentation is the roadmap here, that we actually, just to give a recap of what we have done until now, is basically we have an official private limited company called as BosonQ, and actually we received a prestigious DIPP recognition from Government of India, which is great for us. We have gathered a team which is basically working on toy problems, on developing the quantum algorithms for that. And right now we are conducting a very big event with Quantum Computing India, the biggest quantum computing community in India, and International Society for Computational Fluid Dynamics, which is from UK, and we have the support of Qubitekk for conducting this event. By December, we are trying to have the proof of concept through white papers and research papers. And the current pitch that I'm doing here, and also we are parallelly doing more pitches to get this seed funding of $1 million by January 2021. And this is for release of our beta version of our first software, which we are planning by end of next year. And hopefully, if that everything goes well, we release this beta version. We will give out to the industry and academia to use it, and whatever we get, we want to release our full version by June of 2022. By 2024, we will release the full suite. So basically, the first version will have only structural dynamics, and then we will scale up to like electromagnetics, and then all the multiphysics by 2024.
One minute left.
So I would like to conclude by thanking my team, which we have built. It's a very young team. We have great people bringing in together very diverse team. And then thanks to everyone who have helped the organization to come to the place which is right now. So thank you one and all for listening, and I'm happy to have any questions. Thank you.
That presentation. The chat for some questions. Okay, here they come. The software will be a mix of classical computing and quantum computing for very specific parts. Is that correct?
No, it will be purely quantum computing. No classical computing involved in that, in the solver process, I would say.
But you are principally a software company.
Yes.
Are you in discussions with end users already, and can you name them?
It's too early to call that, I would say, but yes, we have seen interest. The society that we have partnered with and we have given the presentation, we do see traction of people like really seeing this as a field. There are already researchers and people from academia who are interested in this and who are providing support, but it's too early, I would say, to state any names right now.
Okay, thank you. So back to the earlier question, I think, on the classical computing and the quantum computing. So which infrastructure do you intend to run on?
Okay, so currently we are targeting gate-based models, but in future we will, like I mentioned, we will have that versatility of architecture. But right now it is gate-based model that we are targeting.
Will you run on an existing quantum computer?
That's the hope. By December, the proof of concept that we are trying to plan will have actually run in a quantum computer. A small scale problem, a toy problem, but it will run on an actual quantum computer.
And maybe the last question here, what is the minimum number of logical qubits that you would need?
Great question. So we need, for a full-scale car simulation, we have predicted that we need about 40 qubits. We can run smaller scale problems with like a little bit less accuracy, that with like about, I would say, 20 qubit, 20 to 25. We are trying to be in the range of like actual quantum computers right now. So we can scale that problem however we want. But for a full aircraft, we would need about 100. For a full car simulation, we would need about 40 qubits.
Super, thank you very much. I'm going to close that. Thank you very much for your presentation and your
Thank you again for inviting us for this.
networking at the end of the session.
Mm-hmm.
So now to Duncan and Qubitekk. Duncan, are you with us? All right, coming on. Hello, welcome.
Hello, how are you doing?
Okay, so if you have your,
Okay.
I'm going to start the clock and give you 10 minutes.
Are you seeing my slides right now?
Not just yet.
Duncan, your audio is a little bit fuzzy. See, I don't know if you have some headset that you can maybe try.
Let's see. I'm afraid this is all I've got for audio. Is this any better if I move closer?
How did you hear it, Patrick? For me, it sounds very strange.
No, it's very fuzzy. It's very jagged. I don't know if you could turn off the video to yourself and give us more bandwidth and just give us the slides. We lost Duncan entirely.
He's rejoining. Yeah.
Okay.
How's that? Is that better?
Yay! Perfect.
That sounds good.
So to perseverance. Okay, let's start again. Ray, share your screen, please.
Sure thing. So share.
Okay. Oh, not yet. We've got this echo screen. Right, you're on. 10 minutes.
Excellent. Sounds good. So good morning. My name is Duncan Earl. I'm with Qubitekk. I'm the president and the CTO. Sorry, it's morning here where we're at. We're located in Southern California, down in San Diego. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today and tell you a little bit about Qubitekk. So as I mentioned, Qubitekk is a US company. We are located in Southern California, and we're the provider of really rugged, compact, commercialized quantum components that drive and enable the emerging quantum industry. And so if you, I know this group probably more than most understands what the quantum industry is, but just to very kind of quickly share the components of it, it's really about quantum computers primarily, but also quantum security and quantum sensing. And these are very large markets. But to us, the quantum market is really about a gold rush. Essentially, there's all these companies that are going out there hoping to strike it rich by building a quantum computer or offering quantum security solutions. And some of those companies are going to strike it rich, and some of those companies are going to strike out. But for Qubitekk, we really make money sort of either way. And the reason is we make the components that all of these different companies need. So just like the gold miners that needed pickaxes and shovels, we make the same components, or we make the components that the quantum industry needs. So these are critical quantum devices like entangled photon sources and single photon counting detectors and small rugged quantum key distribution systems, all the things that are needed to sort of enable this emerging market. So what we're looking to do is have a Series A raise, where we're looking to raise $10 million US. And with that investment, we want to grow our quantum component line. We want to establish some strategic partnerships to get those components into key products. And we want to license rights so that we can have a larger share of that component market. So in a nutshell, we don't compete with Google or IBM or Intel and some of these big guys looking to build quantum computers, but we do work with them to sell them the quantum devices they're going to need and the quantum networks they're going to need to ultimately bring these technologies to market. So in terms of near-term markets, because quantum is often thought of as 10 years down the road, there will be a quantum computer. Well, what can you do today with the technology that we sell and manufacture? The first is that as quantum computers start to emerge and quantum devices begin to emerge, you're going to need networks to tie them all together. And here in the US, this is a really active area, quantum networking and building a fiber optic network that can transmit quantum states or qubits is a really big focus area here in the US. And we build the technology that powers that. Same with quantum secured communication systems like quantum key distribution systems. Those all are operating on the same components that we develop, and we even have our own quantum key distribution system that we're starting to enter the market with. And then precision time distribution is another near-term application that can benefit from this technology. Here in the US, we got some nice press earlier this year when we worked with scientists at Argonne National Laboratory in the University of Chicago to demonstrate the first 52-mile long basically qubit transfer, the first start of a quantum network here in the US, and got some great press about that, and have continued to work with other major partners like that to get our technology out there. This slide shows only a handful of them, but obviously quantum is a very big market, and we need partners all across that space to move our components into devices that ultimately will power the next quantum computer or the next quantum network. And so we rely on these partners. They're really critical for us to seed the market with our products and ultimately see them in a final product. But if you look at near-term applications, early markets that we want to focus on, we think that one of the best markets specifically is related to critical infrastructure and the electrical grid in particular. So if you look at the electrical grid, it's under constant cyber attack. There's a lot of fiber optics that underpin the electrical grid and how they communicate with the millions of devices distributed across a country that manage the electrical grid. And sadly, most of these communications today are really not protected in any way. It's not because the technology isn't out there for most computing systems, but for the specific computing systems that control the grid, they need a very lightweight cryptographic solution, and there isn't a software solution that exists like that. And so we think that's a great opportunity to come in with a quantum technology and offer a benefit that no one else can offer. And so we've been working with utilities here in the United States to demonstrate that. This is a picture of a quantum key distribution system that's located in a utility in the US. And that system operates between a control center and some substations that are owned by the utility, and essentially distributes cryptographic keys between them. It does that in a way that does not require any mathematics, doesn't require any software. It's a physics-based solution. It leverages quantum entanglement to produce the cryptographic keys, and that allows you to have a cryptographic system that cannot be hacked by a computer, and it doesn't require any software updates or really much maintenance at all, which is really the key point for these critical utilities. And that's why this is a good first market for quantum technology. I don't think I'll have the time to go through all of how this works, but the long story short is that you can take a property of quantum called entanglement, and it really is a great phenomena that can be used to then build up a cryptographic key between two endpoints on a network. And just very quickly, you usually have an Alice and a Bob that are trying to communicate. Entanglement is a way where both Alice and Bob get random measurements or random keys, but they're always correlated. They're the same. And so I apologize, we don't have more time to go into how that works, but I imagine this is a pretty smart audience and you've probably heard about it in the past. The way we use this technology is we have something called a QKD transceiver. Inside of it is an entangled photon source that we make. You might have two substations that need to communicate. For these utilities, they'll already have network equipment in place. It just won't be secured. And so everything you see in this green dotted box is already owned by the utilities. We just come in with our QKD transceiver, connect it through an optical fiber to another QKD transceiver at the other substation. One transceiver produces entangled photons, splits them, sends one to the other device while it keeps one for itself. We then produce these random keys through those entangled photon transfers. The key is handed to the network device, which then establishes a secure VPN. So this is kind of like a bolt-on solution where most of the communication equipment is already existing, but we come in with our technology and add this key generator to the system. Again, the real benefit of this solution is that it doesn't require any kind of maintenance from the utility. It's just you install it, you set it, and you forget it. Okay, so how do we bring this technology to market? Basically, we have a few areas that we're focused on right now. The utility market, we're in pilot testing phase. We're working closely with the Department of Energy here in the US to demonstrate that the technology works and provides benefits to the utilities. From there, we have a 100 substation rollout, again, funded by the Department of Energy. These are their top 100 critical substations that they need to secure. And then assuming a successful rollout to those top 100 substations, here in the United States, the federal government owns over 7,000 substations and manages 7,000 substations. We would roll it out to them next. This is still a pretty expensive technology, so it would take that kind of volume to bring down the cost before we could then roll it out to the larger market, which is 70,000 substations here in the US. It's about $1 billion serviceable market just in the US alone. We're doing the same thing in space. Our technology is going to the International Space Station. We're also working closely with the Army to protect their satellite communications. Same kind of customer. Thank you. And I'll skip over some of the work we're doing in 5G, but again, same kind of system. So Qubitekk has a portfolio of over 60 patents in 21 different families. Still a lot of life left on these, and some of these are fundamental components or fundamental patents. We're the only US company producing entangled photon source, so we have a nice fix on the market. Great management team, been working together for a long time. Again, trying to raise a Series A of about 10 million to really grow the market and establish our presence as the core critical provider of these quantum components. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Duncan. So, inviting questions on the chat. So, a question from my side. You very clearly outlined why the critical infrastructure is a very interesting place to start, and we quantified the market. Is there a story behind how you came across that? Was it obvious to you, or was it some productive conversation that led you that way?
Yeah, so it wasn't really by design. We sort of lucked into it, I guess. I spent 18 years working at one of the major Department of Energy national laboratories. So I was focused in my research not only on quantum, but in energy-related matters as well. And then one of the large utilities in the United States actually approached us about using a quantum solution. specifically for securing the electrical grid. And that's when we learned more about that application and really how important it was that they have a simple solution, something that they could install, and they didn't have to worry about keeping up with passwords or updating software or updating algorithms. They could just install this hardware and be done with it. And that's when it kind of clicked that, that's really the selling, that's really the key benefit of Quantum to that customer, is the simplicity of implementation. And then from there, it started to grow, and we had other partners that joined us and then took us in that direction. By far not by all means, not our only market, but definitely one of our nearest term ones.
Patrick, you might be muted. I can take the next question. Can you tell us about any current customers you might have?
Sure. So most of our customers, and by the way, we do about 3 million in sales, and about half of that is in product revenue, and the other half is really in R&D contracts. And so most of our customers tend to be from the federal space, national laboratories, quantum researchers across the country. We do have some utilities, but they're really just pilot tests at the moment. The federal government here in the United States is our key customer. There was $1.3 billion passed for quantum technology to deploy quantum technology in the US. And so that's where most of the money resides. But we definitely have players in the telecom industry, customers in the telecom industry, and of course in the research community that use our products. And I think, and if it helps, there's this slide here actually does show some of those customers. So Verizon, some bigger names that you probably will recognize.
So are you working with any big companies in Europe? I don't know if you mentioned, just out of curiosity.
So one thing that we definitely have our patent portfolio is partly from, we bought it partly from a UK company. And there is some work that we're doing that overlaps with some of the research organizations in the UK. But right now, we don't really sell our products outside the US. That's something we're looking to change if we can move a little bit away from the quantum security components and focus more on just the critical components for quantum computing and quantum sensing. But right now, almost all of our sales really are in the US.
Thanks. I think that's very interesting. There is a huge opportunity for your services as part of the supply chain, as you mentioned, in Europe as well. Happy to tell you more about the European landscape. Thanks,
Great,
Duncan.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you again. Let's maybe move to our last book, which will be Jose, which we held over from this morning. Welcome.
Hello, how are you? Sorry about that this morning. I have a problem with
these things happen.
My browser decided to update in the last minute.
Well, no, we've all had that. So I'm going to ask you to share your screen, and then I'll start the timer. You have 10 minutes.
Hello, so I'm going to introduce you to Crypta Labs. Crypta Labs is a company that is trying to achieve quantum safe communications and was born in London 7 years ago with a fund from the Ministry of Defense with the idea to generate quantum random numbers on a mobile phone using off-the-shelf components. We managed to do this project working with Oxford University. We calibrated the sensor for single photon statistics, and then from there we were able to extract random numbers. From that, we have been then in interaction with telecom companies, especially in the Czech Republic, with the idea of creating quantum hardware security modules in which we have hardware security modules that have been seeded with quantum random numbers. And then we have been invested by last year, 2019, with a venture capital group in London last 1 million debt from the Innovate UK loan. And then we are also a member of the Starbucks Accelerator for Space Quantum Technologies. So, and the team is around 9 members at the moment. We have 4 chiefs in the team. The last one to join is Samantha Funnell. She was in ARM and wrote the patents portfolio in ARM from 100 patents to 1,000 patents. I am the chief scientific officer with a PhD background in quantum computing. I am in charge of creating mainly the new IP, and John and Oliver is creating the products for the market. Our main verticals that we're working with is the transportation sector. We're developing and piloting our hardware security modules in the Czech Republic at the moment, and we are also start to have the testing facilities in the United Kingdom for different automotive companies to test the connected vehicles necessities for the future. We also have in defense some interest for potential customers in the DoD in the United States, and then we also have some public infrastructure installations with our partners in health services. Okay, so the problem that we're trying to solve at Crypta Labs is the random number generation. At the moment, usually there are 2 main sources of random numbers. One is pseudo random number generators that are seeded with true random number generators. The main problem that we have there is that true random number generators can be biased, or they cannot scale that easily to the gigabits or further random number speeds that will be needed in the future when a lot of IoT devices will be connected and using different kind of encryption protocols that requires longer keys than the ones that we have right now. So these are the different flavors of random number generation that we have at the moment. And then in our aim at Crypta Labs is to have a on the field quantum random number generator that can support and withstand different vibrations in the field, like rocket launch, temperature fluctuations on low Earth orbit, for example, for space random number generators. And then robust against radiation also for space. We are able to pass all known randomness tests that are out there, and we're reaching to target around 1 terabit per second rates for our space product. I'm going to give a short explanation of how we generate the quantum random numbers and where is our IP and our patent that is being granted. So the idea is that we produce photons from a light source that is a LED. Then these photons pass by our diffuser, in which they will do a random walk in the diffuser. They will scatter. Then there is no problem if there is vibrations in the system, because after they leave the diffuser material, they will leave at a random time and direction. They will scatter the camera sensor, and then you will have a different number of photons collision with each pixel in your camera sensor array. And then from there, we will do an extraction with our post-processing technology and produce random numbers that passes tests. So we have some interest from different clients also in the space industry, as well from defense industry, in which they're interested in gigabits and potentially terabits of random number generation. And from what we know in the market at the moment, being able to sell is the fastest chip that we know is on 90 QuantFi to produce 5 megabits per second. We want to achieve the terabit, and then we will be looking for a Series A investment of £5 million to achieve this. So our quantum random solution for space, I have here in my hand, I don't know if you can see it, but this is already been tested for vacuum and thermal cycling tests. We're looking for vibrations next. So we're developing already a solution that can withstand satellite and low Earth orbit conditions for our quantum random number generation. So we have 2 potential solutions. One's with onboard solution in which the CPU of the satellite will do the post-processing. Another will be that we have a dedicated chip in which you just request random numbers and they will give them to you. Okay, so where all this was starting to come from was with a threat from quantum computers. As a lot of people is familiar. Peter Story in 1994 developed the algorithm that could break our public key encryption protocols, both RSA and elliptic curve, by defining the break factors or the logarithmic problem. Then almost all these get weakened with quantum computers, so we need to move towards a different kind of encryption system. There are two main ones. One is post-quantum encryption, in which we have already introduced in our mobile phone platform demo. So we can now sit with our quantum random numbers, two mobile phone sets that are then to communicate using a post-quantum encryption protocol and we're also looking for different and integrating different post-quantum encryption protocols in our portfolio. Then for space communications, we're looking for integrating our quantum random number for different QKD systems. We're speaking with different QKD providers that are in the need for a high performance quantum random number generator that can withstand the space conditions. So we are looking for the miniaturization of our technology with the idea to reduce a lot the cost, because we're using off-the-shelf components that we have been calibrated ourselves. Then we can expect to achieve much higher speeds than our competitors. And we are also in the process of testing for all the conditions for in the field. We have collaborations with Starbus, Aerospace, with Ultrasound and Telecalinia as well. So our quantum random number security module, basically this board that I have here in my hand is basically the size of a USB stick, in which we have a chip that produces different encryption protocols that is potentially seeded with our quantum random number generator that we are developing. This is being piloted at the moment in the Czech Republic. So our version is the Cicada version 3, and here we can compare with our potential competitors in this field of hardware security modules for the connected vehicles. These are the kind of different groups that we are using, and we have in our board members a member of the ETSI standard for standardization of the protocols for communication of connected vehicles in the European Union, and then we're matching with all the requirements that are needed for the European Union and the connected vehicles. And these are the number of operations per second that we can do at the moment. We are around 40 operations per second for elliptic curve verification, and signing around 30 operations. These are results from our independent advisors to check.
1 minute left.
1 minute, perfect. And we're in the last slide. So we're here. So we did in 2019 the seed round, in which we achieved to start working with our space technology and our piloting testing in Europe. And then we're looking for starting the end of this year, starting the beginning of 2021, to 5 million money to let us increase our capabilities and miniaturization of our technology.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
For questions?
We already have a couple of questions in the chat. Are there any standards on quantum random number generators at the moment?
They are not, but we are member of the quantum assurance standardization process that has been built in the United Kingdom.
Okay. And on the chip, the Cicada V3, is that available now if I wanted to buy one?
If we can give to pilot, yes, is available for piloting testing. If we can also go to a scale up, because we already have the partners with manufacturing for scaling up, yes.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any more. So I'm maybe going to call it to a close now. Thank you very much for that presentation.
Thank you.
And I think we have reached now the end of our formal presentation part. Araceli, are you with us?
Yeah. Hi. Thanks, Patrick, for moderating. I think it was a very good session. It went really smooth.
Thank you, everyone, for keeping to time. So we now have another period of. Please do take that opportunity while people are still on. We've kept most of the people through the whole of the session. I'm very pleased to see that. That's a sign that we're doing something right. Has been interesting and valuable.
Perfect. Just to tell the audience that we are going to send you a survey with some questions to know what you thought of the event, what we can improve. But I think we all agree that it was useful, and probably to just continue doing similar things are going to be helpful. So maybe just asking you, what else do you think that is needed for you, either being you a company or an individual or an investor, what is needed, and we will try to organize it for you. We are going to send a booklet with all the information about the speakers and the companies for you, that you can contact them. And I think this pretty much is, as Patrick said, now it's time to network. Just go on the networking session. You will have up to 5 minutes to talk to someone. Sometimes you need to wait a little bit because people were asking me why nothing is happening. It's until you are matched with someone else that is free at the same time. So thank you very much. Thanks, Patrick, again. Yeah, enjoy the networking and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.